Hello there. According to one prominent Brexiteer, a post-Brexit boom will make any thoughts of rejoining the European Union a complete absurdity. Laughing off comments by the Tory deputy leader David Lidington that the UK will consider rejoining the EU in 10 to 20 years, Brexiteer Jacob Rees-Mogg said that once the people of the UK have tasted life outside of the EU, they would think it absurd to re-enter the bloc. Speaking to the BBC Today programme, the new chairman of the European Research Group said, "Once we have left the EU and have cheaper products, cheaper food, and a better standard of living, and a booming economy, and a world-beating city in London that is not hampered by bureaucratic regulations from Brussels, nobody in their right mind would want to rejoin any European club." And responding to the French president's remarks that the EU would love us to return, he went on to say, "The French will want us back, because they will want our money. That's the reason why. We are an international financial centre, not a European centre. We ought to remember that." And I heartily agree with him. Once we've extricated ourselves from the complex straitjacket of a system that serves nothing but itself, there will be no going back. Especially when we see Euroscepticism continue to rise across the Union and watch as it slowly tears itself apart euro by euro. Jacob Rees-Mogg has also rekindled his call to appoint pro-Brexit peers to the House of Lords to ensure safe passage of Brexit legislation. At the end of 2016, he said the PM should be looking to appoint 1,000 pro-Brexit peers. But now he's tempered that back down to just 200. She should keep up her sleeve the ability to appoint enough peers to get business through, he said. If the House won't play by the constitutional rulebook, then the PM has to use the extra measures available to her. It could be a couple of hundred. There is no point in going off half-cock. I await the call. According to Bloomberg economists, even the most basic of trade deals with the EU would bring in more than £40 billion in 3 years, i.e. the so-called Brexit divorce bill would be paid off very quickly and we'd be in profit ever after. Bloomberg's Emma Ross-Thomas said, "The most basic trade deal, a Canada-style deal, which is not very ambitious, even that would see Britain bring in £40 billion in 3 years. The bill will pay for itself in 3 years. Roll forward the end of the decade and the sum amounts to £290 billion in the British economy." So, according to Bloomberg Economics, the benefit of a trade agreement makes the divorce bill of £35 billion a bargain. In more doom and gloom scaremongering, the Scottish Government's chief economist Gary Gillespie claims that Brexit uncertainty could harm investment in Scotland by £1 billion by 2019, so causing a rise in unemployment of 0.8%. But independent forecasts say the Scottish economy is still growing and is expected to grow by about 0.8% to 1.4% this year, with a positive outlook for oil and gas helping. And the Economy Secretary, Keith Brown, said that the number of people in employment has risen by 59,000 in the last year. Writing in The Guardian, Simon Jenkins says we should stop any fixation on a second referendum and focus on trade. Painting a picture of second referendum Adventists who are as mad as flat earth leavers, he said that the Remainers should be rallying everyone to the single market banner. But he makes the mistake of saying that staying in the single market is leaving the EU and repatriating sovereignty, when it does neither of those things. But one thing he does say that hits the mark is, "One thing has become clear from Brussels. that the EU negotiators are not interested in the good of the EU, let alone of Britain. They are about the self-interest of a cabal of unelected officials who have no love for Britain. They hate the reality that the British had the guts to hold a referendum that few of them would dare in their respective countries. The former Tory Chancellor, Lord Lawson, has said that the only reason the UK will be paying any so-called Brexit divorce bill is so we can get a good trade deal. But he also pointed out that the UK has no legal obligation to give this money away, and that the UK would pay what it is legally required to pay, but should not just pay what other people demand we pay. We'll certainly pay what we're legally obliged to pay. We're not going to break the law in any way. But the offer now on the table, which the British government have made, of between £35 billion and £39 billion, there's no obligation to pay that at all, he said. And he went on to say, there is no need to pay this money, and I don't think we should do so. After all, the public finances are not in a very strong position. There are huge parts of our public sector which require more money. We shouldn't be tossing this across the channel. But if this 40 billion quid is meant to secure a trade deal, what is this price that Macron referred to last week at the Anglo-French summit when he said, "And you should understand that you cannot, by definition, have the full access to the single market if you don't tick the box." And those boxes would be freedom of movement, ECJ jurisdiction, and of course budget contributions, on top of the £35 billion one surmises. Speaking at a reception for Operation Black Vote last week, the Speaker of the House of Commons, John Bercow, said that people who lose referendums should not have to accept the vote. Democracy is not just about one vote once every 5 years, or one vote once on a particular issue, causing all argument on that matter to be considered legitimately shut down, he said. That is not the way democracy works. Democracy is a dynamic concept. People who are on the losing side are not obliged to accept that their view has been lost forever, and they are perfectly entitled to continue to argue for it. This is being interpreted as a reference to the EU referendum vote and has been seized on by pro-Remainers, with the Lib Dem MP Tom Brake saying, "One vote on one day in 1 year by a small majority cannot bind the British people for eternity. The public is entitled to change its mind on an issue as serious as Brexit." And Labour MP and Open Britain supporter Alison McGovern said, "The will of the people is not something that is frozen in time, and everybody has the right to keep an open mind about whether Brexit is the right thing for our country when we see what the reality looks like." But of course they are all overlooking the fact, yes, the fact, that the 2016 referendum was not touted as a first referendum. The UK public was specifically told that this was the vote, the one chance to make their views heard that would then be followed through on. We must therefore stick to that promise, or true democracy is dead. Finally, the tones of Big Ben will not be used to wring the EU out of the UK political picture, with the Cabinet Office Minister David Lidington saying, "There are currently no arrangements for Big Ben to chime to mark the UK's departure from the EU." Brexit has been the most politically contested and most heavily engaged subject of recent times, so for the national will not to be celebrated by the chimes of Big Ben, as well as the Royal Mail director saying that Brexit was not an important enough anniversary, makes you wonder what would be. Do you think we should be celebrating Brexit with the dongs of Big Bell and a stamp issue? Please leave a comment below. Thank you. Please do like and share this video. and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.